Hello, hello. Good morning, you guys. You were listening to a whole lot of nothing just now. You were supposed to be listening to music.
We were listening to it.
We were listening to it.
We thought you were too.
Yes. Had some technical difficulties this morning. As you can see, we're still on the webcam. That is not the goal. I have a whole camera right here, not working. So I was frustrated.
It's worked once.
It's worked one time. It
Episode
worked.
2?
It worked. 2 days ago when I tried it.
Yeah.
And then because of that, the audio thing, y'all were listening to a whole lot of nothing. So I hope you enjoyed the music you didn't hear.
And thanks for sticking around through that.
Yeah. So we are back. This is Journeys and Ambitions. I'm Abby, and this is
Jennifer.
Yes, and today we're going to be talking about cash or credit. Tell them the motive for this episode.
Abby likes to come up with cute names. I enjoy that about you as well. We're actually just going to talk about. I'm hitting the table. We're going to talk about money matters, bills, debt, savings, 401k. I'm not going to talk about my 401k. But all those things that they don't really teach us in school, and they should, because we have to learn from our parents.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think I got some decent money skills from
Mostly I did stuff and was like, don't do this.
Yeah, I definitely think I've especially at my age, I'm probably more financially responsible than maybe you were at my age, would you say?
No. I was married with a kid at your age.
Doesn't mean you were financially responsible.
Well, I had to spend all
I'm not married and I don't have a child. I think that's already financially more responsible.
You live with your mother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying I didn't have a lot of money to save, but I had to be, I couldn't overspend and do crazy stuff.
Yeah, she told me one time that when I was a baby that she made, I think you said $900 a month. Oh no, the rent was $900.
No, the rent was $640.
You said something, or maybe it was $9 an hour. I think that's what she said. I think you said you made $9 an hour, and you had an apartment and a baby and a car and all these things. I was like, that's like I can't even fathom that. Yeah, it was definitely that. You said you made $9 an hour, and I think it was when it was just you and me.
It was, and I had a 2-bedroom apartment, and kind of like.
I make a lot
in a hoity-toity kind of place.
I make a lot more than $9 an hour now, and I cannot afford a 2-bedroom apartment or a baby.
The world is different. I don't even know how anybody can afford anything right now.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like the disconnect between generations too, with when it comes to like finances and stuff like that. Because I don't think you necessarily. I just think a lot of like older people are kind of like, I had to figure it out, and I went through this, and this, and I'm like, this. I don't think they understand like how. Like vastly different it is now.
I mean, I know how much I make, and I know it's pretty decent, right? I'm not rich by any means, but I'm doing fairly well. And, with the cost of rent and everything else, like I don't have a lot of extra,
right?
Not to say that we go on, we do our things, but I can't really be willy-nilly with my money as much as I would like to be.
Yeah, and I think like I've always been very like financially conscious pretty much since college, since I was like making my own money and like had bills to pay and stuff like that. I've been very financially conscious to a point where like when I was in college and I was like trying to keep everything together, I was like, and I was also in a relationship where the person was not financially conscious at all. So I was like, I'm going to have to be the breadwinner. And like, I was just on a path to more financial success than this person was. And this is the person I at one point thought I was going to like be with forever. And I was like, I felt a lot of pressure. Like, I need to be the one to hold it together. I need to be the one that is like making sure bills get paid, making sure that we have a savings account, making sure like that we have all the things. And I don't think my mom ever sat me down and like had a conversation with me about these things. I think I observed and saw, that there were times where you guys were maybe like struggling with debt or something like that. And I was like, I do not want to go through that. I was like very against any debt. Now I'm not fully against debt because I understand the value in debt. And like sometimes you need to have a little bit of debt.
I mean, you don't need to. I mean, you need to just because the way the times are and things are expensive, right? I think I put up on our thing. Dave Dave Ramsey thing. Now, mind you, I've been through the whole Dave Ramsey program. I can't personally do or don't want to do some of the stuff he says to do. You know what I mean? I don't want to buy $1,000 car and then save up like I'm making a payment until I can get it. Nope, I'll make a car payment. I'm good.
And sometimes like, you know what you should do, and that doesn't mean that you can always do that.
Right.
Because like.
But everything he says is super logical. It's just, what do you call it when you need to have something right away? You know,
immediate gratification.
That's the one. That's the thing. Yeah, I'm bad about that.
Which is true. And like, even so, like a year ago, I had to get a new car. And before, my mom had got me a car when I was in high school. She paid for it. And I was planning, and I'm the type of person, I will use a phone and I won't get the updated new phone. Now, my computer, she's updated, but I actually wouldn't have got this computer. We'll get there. Hold on. I'm the type of person, I will use and abuse something till it actually literally falls apart. Because if I don't need to buy the newest thing. And I think we all have a thing that we do or like maybe a little bougie about. You know what I'm saying? There are like some things where you're like, oh, I'm kind of, I do kind of want the most updated. And lately I've been kind of getting more into gadgets and having like cool stuff.
I hate getting new phones. Hate it.
I actually thought about it because someone I know got a new phone and the camera quality was really good. And I was like, I want a new phone now. But I also want an iPad. And not too long ago, I just bought this computer, which was a lot of money.
Yeah. So we're talking about finances.
Yeah.
Did you pay cash for that?
So what I do is, I'm so smart, you guys. And you're going to hear me say this and you're like, yeah, that's like basic ass knowledge, but whatever. What I do is oh yeah, let me read Brittany's comments. She said,
Brittany's our girl today.
Yeah. She said, yes, I use phones until they completely die. She said, same. I always observe my parents with their financial struggles. And I think that's kind of like how a lot of like the younger generation is learning, is by like your parents' mistakes, which you're supposed to learn from your parents' mistakes, right?
But I think my generation is better at like making you aware of it and telling you we don't have money for that or whatever. Because my parents, it was like a weird secret. You could never know if they were struggling, if there were bills, how much they got paid.
And I get that because I don't think they want to like have their kids like worry. You know what I mean? And I think your parents of your generation is kind of more like, I don't want to involve the children in like adult matters. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I get that, but also it didn't teach us anything. So, we get old enough to get a credit card and we're like, woohoo.
Right.
Not
and
good.
So when you were asking me if I bought my cash for my computer, I didn't actually. First, I put it on a credit card, but I had the cash to pay for it. I just put it on a credit card so I could get points and stuff like that. And that's usually that's like my goal, is what I try to do, is like things that like come up, whether it be like car stuff or, vet bills for my animals or medical bills for myself, like things that come up. I try to save consistently. So I always have a good amount of savings to account for those things. But what I do is I actually put it on my card so I can get the points, because I'm going to have to pay for that anyways. But those types of things I know I have. I'm trying to be better about not putting anything on my credit card that I don't have the money to immediately pay. Which when me and my mom, we went to, I think we talked about this on the last show. We went to Europe back in September. That made my credit card. I put a lot of money on my credit card for that trip.
Same.
Actually, I just paid off a majority of that trip on my credit card with my tax refund.
I have not paid it off, and I don't get refunds.
Yeah. So
there's that.
When I come into a lot of money, whether it be through a tax refund or recently I paid for a trip that got canceled, so I got all the money back. When I come into a big amount of money, what I try to do is I save half of it, depending on how much it is. And when we got during COVID, when we got that stuff, what was it called? Stimulus? Even when I got that, like what I tried to do is save half of it and then use the other half for bills. I try not to I might use like $100 or $200 to like splurge on something. Maybe there's like, a new pair of shoes I've been wanting or something like that. Just, because I think, and that's the balance that I've found more recently after college, when I was super like hyper fixated on like my finances. Something that I think I'm better about now is like finding the balance in being more like free. And my mom says, I'm gonna call you out. You know what I'm about to say?
I already put on Twitter and stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna get so slammed in this whole
She is, because my mom is the absolute worst influence. Here's something that is
I know what you're gonna say.
a quote from my mother.
Weekly.
She says this all the time. If I'm like, and I'm the type of person to really second guess. I'm like, should I get this? Should I get this? And I have things sitting in the cart of my, like on an app. I have them sitting in the cart for like weeks. And then I go in and then I eventually decide what I need and what I don't need or whatever. Something my mom always says, especially when we're out and about, we're on a trip, we're like, out shopping. She goes, it's just money. You'll make more. That is something she lives by. And it pisses me off because it works. I'm like, you're right. I am going to get another paycheck. But like, I'm trying to get ahead. I'm only 25. Like, I'm trying to like get a retirement fund going. I have to start paying for my own health insurance soon. Like, I'm trying to like, and I am trying to get my own place. So like, I'm trying to be better financially. And I have her in my ear, like a little bee buzzing in my ear.
We should say that. We should say this so we don't come across as, I don't know, elitist, or I don't know the right word. That you're 25, but you're not in the same boat as a lot of 25-year-olds. So when Abby says she does this and does this, she's living here. She's not paying rent. She's not doing a lot of the things. You do have a car payment, that kind of thing. But I just want to say that because, and acknowledge that not everybody can be that, financially responsible because they just don't have the opportunity to.
I think it's important when you are in a privileged position. Not that I think we're not like rich
to kind of take advantage of it, though. I mean, not advantage in a bad way.
But I think it's important to be smart. Like if someone comes from money and they spend their money willy-nilly and they don't understand the value of it, I think it is to that person's detriment. Like if you're not like smart with it. And like I said, I am in a privileged position in the sense that I'm not like fully financially independent right now, but that is a goal of mine and that's something I want and strive for. I don't want to like live off of somebody. Even if I'm like married, I don't want to live off of that person. I've always been very much about being financially independent. And I have been before. And then I was in a position where I moved back in with my mom because I wanted to make a career change and I couldn't do that while having to pay a bunch of bills. Like it just wasn't because
I did an internship.
I did an internship. Yes. I was making pretty good money as a retail manager. I was making very good money for how old I am. And I'd only been working at that store for like 3 years and I made it all the way up to like pretty high management within the store. But it was not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I knew when I was making that kind of money, I quit like a month after I got that promotion because I was like, I can't build my life around this kind of income knowing that I'm not going to keep getting it. So I remember when because I was living with my mom at this point, just a few months, and I'd gotten the promotion and I was making a lot of money, a lot to me. I wasn't making six figures or anything like that, y'all. It was probably, I'll tell you, it was probably like about $50,000 a year, which was
23.
I was 23 at the time. So it felt like a lot of money and it was a lot of money. And at that point I didn't have a car payment, but that's when my mom got excited and I had to tell her to chill out a little bit. She was like, well, now that you're making all this money, you can go get a new car and maybe you can get your own place or you can pay me rent. One of the two, we'll figure it out. And I'm like, yeah, you did. I was like, whoa, Jennifer.
I thought I was against you getting a new car.
Anyways, I was like, Jennifer, you need to calm down, please, because I want to quit my job. And I think you and a lot of people around me, you a little bit, were against me getting another job. You were a little bit for the money, because you were like, why would you quit this job? You have all this money. I think you wanted me to change my career path, but I remember you specifically were like, well, are you sure you're making a lot of money? My stepdad said the same thing. A lot of people around me were like, thought I was so foolish for quitting that job for an unpaid internship.
I feel like I encouraged that.
You did, Jennifer. I'm saying.
I love when she calls me Jennifer.
You did as a mom, but as like a person trying to think what's best for me financially, you did say, are you sure that's a good idea? You don't want to stick around a few more months, blah, blah, blah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Cause you hadn't done it for that long.
I hadn't done it for
I feel like I would have said that.
Yeah. She was
but I also was like, when you wanted to do the internship, I think I was a little skeptical. And then I was like, well, you know what? Now's the time, do it now while you don't
have to,
while you don't have to pay rent and all that, and at your age. And I also told you that if you got sucked into getting that money for the job you hate, you're
Mhm.
going to continue doing that job and you're going to be
Right.
miserable. You
And
might, I
especially if
mean,
my
switch now
bills
while you don't need the money.
especially if I, like, was like, "Okay, well, I'm making all this money, I'm gonna go get my own place, I'm gonna do all this," and now like you said, I have to keep that job to maintain my lifestyle, and something that you and I have kinda talked about is people who live above their means, and I slightly do that. Because, I like to be glamorous and do fun things because like I said, there was a point in time where I didn't really do much. I didn't get out much. I would stay home to like quote unquote save money when in reality I was going through like a depression and I didn't want to go out, but I was using I don't want to spend money as an excuse. Now I take every opportunity to go out, even if I don't have the money for it. I go in my
I'm
savings.
going inward right now, like, oh, is that why I stay home? I think it's to save money too, but maybe I need therapy. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Anybody who
So
knows me already knows that.
So going from making about $50,000 a year to an unpaid internship, and I'm a big believer in that things line up how they're supposed to, and so
And how long were you unpaid?
I was only unpaid for like a month.
Okay.
It was with LV with Val Radio, the platform that we're on right now for the radio show, and I
Shout
was
out to Val.
shout out to Val. I was hired on pretty quickly. And around the same time when I was thinking of quitting my job, I was applying to any job, but I didn't want to just take any job either because I got offered another position that paid about like $20 an hour. Um,
Oh, yeah.
at some like printing company, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. And then they wanted me to do sales, and I really didn't want to do sales. And then I saw this internship for a radio show, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is perfect. And then within a few days of me applying for that internship, I was offered another part-time position that was paying about $20 an hour to kinda help supplement. It was only part-time, so it wasn't gonna be nearly as much as I was making, but I was like, "Okay, I am gonna be getting some income in." So it all kinda worked out perfectly. There was only, like, a couple months where I felt like I didn't have, and then because of the way that I quit, I actually was still getting, and I had, PTO that I hadn't used up either. So I actually never didn't have a paycheck because I kept
Oh,
getting
because they
paid.
paid. That's right. I do remember
They
that.
kept paying me. I think I got like 2 or 3 more paychecks after I quit because of the time that I quit during the pay period. And so I ended up getting money. And so by the time I stopped getting that paycheck, I was now getting a paycheck from the internship. So it all kind of lined up perfectly. But I knew when I got that promotion, I was like, I need to save a lot of this money because I'm not going to have this much money a few months from now. And I need to make sure that I'm not just spending it because I have it. And so I do think that's something that I try to be mindful of. I don't spend money just because I have it.
So point being, I think in the long run is you were making good money at 23,
Mhm.
right? And that locks some people in, right? They get used to that, or it depends on your circumstance, right? If you have a family and you have children and that's your only income or whatever, you have to do those sort of things.
Right.
But I'm actually going to quote Val because I remember when you interviewed with her, um, Abby, she asked Abby about how, can you do this? And she said, yes, I'm living with my mom. I have this job. I get
Yeah,
paid
because
this
I told her I
much.
was gonna quit my job. Because at first she's like, "You work full time. How are you gonna do this?" I said, "Oh, I'm quitting that job. I hate my job."
Yeah. And I remember what she said to you because you told me this and I've never forgotten it. And she said, oh, so you're investing in yourself.
Mhm.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like that hit me. I was like, I like this lady,
Yeah.
And so, if you're able to, you know what I mean? Like you got to kind of just set the money aside and say for the greater good of yourself, now you love your job.
I
You
do.
don't like the drive, but you love what you do, and
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. My drive is great. My job, whatever.
Right,
But I have to, my lifestyle or whatever I have,
and I think
I
that
can't
kinda
quit.
goes back to what we were saying that, like, if
So
you
if there's a man who'd like to marry me and pay all my bills, I'm
if you have the opportunity and the privilege to invest in yourself, I think you should. I'm glad that I didn't get too wrapped up in the money and that I, like you said, took advantage of my situation. And again, not take advantage in like this negative way where like, you know, I'm not like running you dry or anything like that. But like, I am lucky enough, not all parents want their children living with them when the children's 25 years old. I'm lucky enough to be an only child. It's not like you have a gaggle of children that are living off of
well, you
you.
just haven't met them.
Anyways,
She did bring 2 dogs with her, so now there's 3 dogs in the house, and
I did.
y'all, 3's too much. Just saying.
Okay. Ooh, we got a comment from Aaliyah. She said, financial stability is so important. For me, I learned that at an early age. Of course, I slip up at times, but I'm definitely trying to budget myself more, especially while paying my bills and rent and still maintaining this lifestyle that I must have. Agreed. There is a certain lifestyle that you want to keep, right? Like I want to be able to go see like tonight, I'm gonna go see a play, a community theater play. Is it as much as like a Broadway show? Of course not. But it's not cheap. It's not like it's $10. You know what I'm saying? And I still want to be able to go to see shows with my friends or go out and get a couple drinks and stuff like that. But I think it's about and like dinners. I love a good dinner. I love a good, yummy, delicious,
We
expensive
like to
dinner.
eat. That's
But
like most of our expense when we travel too.
is eating,
I don't mess
yeah.
around. I don't mess around eating on vacation.
Brittany said,
We're not really talking about money. We're just all over the place.
my parents are begging me to move back in. They are also elderly and love when I help them around the house and financially, and I'm happy to do that.
Aw.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it does benefit like the parent too, like whether you're helping financially or like, some people get like lonelier in old age and like they want their kids around. I said some people.
I didn't say
You made a
it.
face. I think some people also get lonely as they get older too, and so they want their kids around. And so, yeah, I think it's important to if you have the people around you. Not, I mean, unless your living situation is toxic, right? Sometimes it's maybe your parents would let you live with them, but like maybe they're abusive or maybe like it's a toxic situation. And in that case, of course, you have to figure things out and make ends meet. All throughout college, I worked 2 jobs. I did not have to do that at all. I was could
Yeah, I
have
will say that. We actually didn't want her to work. We told you not to work.
my parents did not want me to work. I was also lucky enough where I got college uh paid for through the Veterans Association. And so I did not have to work, but I've had a job since I was 15 years old. I've always had the desire to work and make my own money and to make my own financial decisions. And sometimes some people don't have the luxury of wanting to do that. It's out of necessity, not out of desire. Um, and so, but it's kind of, it does bother me at times when I feel like people don't, and I don't know, maybe I'll get canceled for this. But it does bother me when people use the cards they were dealt in life as an excuse to not get their stuff together.
It's hard to say if you're not in that position, though.
It is hard to say, and, like, that's why I said I'm probably gonna get canceled for that because I sound like Kim Kardashian in that one clip where she was like, "Nobody wants to work these days." She kinda ate with that, though. She kinda ate because people don't wanna work these days. They wanna, like and I think, it's also perpetuated by this, like, lifestyle that is on social media where it's like, the girls have sugar daddies or, it's all about this quick, easy money. And that's not really possible unless you sell yourself in some way, whether it be selling your body sexually or selling like your mental like, sometimes it's not even about, like, doing something sexual. Sometimes it's about, like, you're selling yourself in the sense that, like, you're doing something you hate and you don't enjoy it, and you're working yourself dry to make all this quick money that isn't gonna last.
I mean, everybody's different, of course, and a lot of it's just about like willpower or whatever. Because um, I'm thinking of a brother and sister that grew up in the same household, and one of them dropped out in the 10th grade, and the other one is now makes lots of money and has a really expensive car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? They're related to us, right? They grew
Yeah.
up in the same exact household. And so they had same parents, same situation, same circumstance. So it's hard to say, because one now, mind you, it took her waiting tables and paying for all that on her own, and it took her many years to get through college and get to, a certain point. She's probably like 30 by the time she finished with all that. And then I have a couple friends from back home that, had a husband and children and went back to school and got their degree. And so, and they weren't particularly privileged. And here I am. I probably had all the opportunities and didn't want to. Well, I just didn't want to badly enough.
Right.
So
And drive is a big part of it, right? It doesn't matter how privileged you are, or how you grew up or what your circumstances are. You either have the drive or you don't.
right.
And that I think is something that you can develop, but a lot of times I do think it's something you're born with. You're either born with that drive, it's either in you as a person, or you don't.
I do think, though, if I think about all the circumstances I just talked about, I want to say that all of those people I'm talking about had a free place to live.
Okay.
Parents, family member, something of a nature where they had maybe not, they still maybe went to work full time and all that, but they had some sort of little advantage so that they could do that,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's something that when I was talking about, like, taking advantage of the opportunities that you're given, like I said, I went to college. um Hold on, I'll read that comment in a second. I went to college essentially for free. I don't have any bills for college, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And I understand that there's a lot of people out there that are not in that position.
Right.
But if I and I again, like I said, I worked 2 jobs all throughout college. If I worked 2 jobs all throughout college and then I had nothing to show for it when I got out because I was just being frivolous with my money, is that taking advantage of the opportunity that was given to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm already leaving college with no debt and I've been working. So I'm going to make sure that I'm in a position where I have something to show for that. Not only my degree, but also like just being more financially aware and responsible. It was a goal of mine a while ago to buy a house before I'm 25. I turned 26 this year. So that didn't happen. And I actually don't even know if I want to buy a house in this market right now.
Oh, that's gonna be we're gonna have that subject come up
Yeah.
in due time.
I do want to read some comments really quick too. So Keeman Richardson says, I currently live with my parents, but currently in the process to live with my grandmother who needs someone living with her. It's going to be a process, but I'm wanting to be more, better with my money. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like sometimes um, it's not like you're leeching off someone. It's mutually beneficial, right? They need additional help. And then you also get a place to stay. Brittany said, shoot, I wish I didn't have to work either, but I would rather work and make enough money so that I'm not struggling so I can enjoy my life. And then Keeman said, no shade, let's be clear. She didn't really work at one point either. She was a rich girl who got famous for a leaked sex tape. Eyes emoji. Yeah.
You're gonna start acting out emojis?
Yeah, I should.
My favorite one.
I like this one.
I like this one.
Or the what, you know which one I'm trying to do?
No. Oh yeah.
That's true. You know what I'm saying? However, there's a lot of people who are born really wealthy who again have nothing to show for it. I think what and I like the Kardashians, okay? I'll admit it. I like the Kardashians, okay? But she took her nepotism and her privilegedness. Now I sound like Brother Carter. Her privileged benefits, I guess, and made something of herself. She is like a multi-millionaire. Like, yeah, she came from money and she came from family, but she is more successful now than she would have been had she just gotten a regular schmegular job with the connections she had. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think whether you come from a place of privilege or you don't, I think it's important to take the opportunities. And what I was talking about earlier, how I think people who are like dealt shitty cards in life and they use it as an excuse. My ex-boyfriend, I'm going to talk about him if you're watching. He would just never learn his lesson. Like something would happen financially, couldn't really keep a job for long periods of time. And at one point was making a decent amount of money, again, in a management position that was awful and taking a toll on him mentally. And I was trying to tell him, like, okay, make sure you save your money and you have something to show for it because it sounds like you don't really want to stay at this job. But you need to stay long enough to build the experience and also to have money left. You're making more money than you ever have. And I don't know. I just think there was a lot of excuses and a lot of, oh, well, I was just dealt really bad cards in life and this, and this happened. And I said, yes, but you've had plenty of opportunities because I was also helping him a lot. Not completely financial. I wasn't paying his bills or anything, but I was being very supportive financially and also emotionally supportive. And I was doing my best to get him to a point where he didn't have to have all these excuses, and never once did he take any sort of opportunity to do better in his life. And at some point I don't feel bad for you anymore because you need to know you need to do what you can to get out of a situation. I don't really sympathize with people who make a lot of excuses. It goes in one ear out the other for me. So, what do you think on that?
I think I'm answering a work text right now.
Okay, let me read some comments. Brittany also said, "I can't stand people who grow up with so much privilege and resources and do nothing with it." Facts, girl. Facts. Applause. Mic drop. Keeman said, "Oh, we know you like the Kardashians. She definitely made a complete shift." Exactly. Brittany said, "There are so many people who wish they had privilege and resources." Of course. So if you're blessed with that, I think it's important to take advantage of that.
But going back to like how we first started, the I don't watch all that.
Mhm.
If sometimes I get sucked in if I see you watching it, but I try not to do any of that. However, I worry about sort of the younger generation. And you know what? Actually, my generation too, I'm not gonna lie, that watches that and then gets in credit card debt and that kind of stuff, trying to keep up,
The lifestyle.
right?
Right. And
Or try to attain something similar, or some, kind of.
there's show off. And there's this person on TikTok, and I don't have it in front of me right now, but he kind of says he does these little skits of like rich people versus really rich people. And so like rich people are all about like, well, I need my son to drive the nicest car and wear designer clothes, whereas the really rich people are like,
Buy your own car.
buy your own car.
I had to. Yeah.
Figure it out, buy your own car. And they don't really care as much about name brands. They care more about being financially smart, which is how they got really rich. So I think when people look at the Kardashians and they say, well, I want to be rich so that I can, buy Louis Vuitton bags, or so I can like buy like, these fancy Range Rovers and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that stuff is cool, but that shouldn't be financial stability, and wealth should be more of a goal than things,
I think
items.
the wealthiest person I think I know, and I'm just going to assume he's wealthy because of his job.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say his name because he might be watching our show. He follows me on all the things. Anyway, he's somewhat famous, right? So I'm going to assume he has a decent amount of money. And I haven't seen him in a very long time. However, like when I would see him, he was literally not dressed nice. Sorry if you're watching, but he wore like cargo shorts and Birkenstocks, and I mean, you would have never in a million years looked at this guy and said he's wealthy,
Right.
right? So I feel like at some point, if you know you have it, there's no need to show you have it.
Right.
Kind of, you're just like, I just wear what's comfortable,
You let
like.
people think whatever. And, like, I'm sure you guys have seen those, you've seen them. You probably don't know what I'm talking about when I say it, but they're, like, these videos called, like, Darman videos, and they're, like, these, like, skits that are on, like, Facebook and YouTube. They're very, very popular, where, like, it's kind of, like, very bad acting, but they all have a good positive message, and it's always, like,
Is it
someone.
bad acting on purpose, or?
I actually watched, like, something about Darman, and he tries to make the concepts and the language very, very he wants people of all intelligence levels, people of all, like,
Okay,
languages to be able to understand it.
got
So,
it. Okay.
it's like there's not much to infer. They say exactly, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But it's because he wants a bigger audience. You've seen them. I'll show you later. You've definitely seen these videos. But it's like there's like these skits where like the sales associate is like, you can't afford these shoes, like on some Pretty Woman, like you can't afford this, and the person is
Big
like,
mistake.
yeah, the person is like just dressed like in Walmart clothes and they're driving like a Toyota. But then someone comes in like a Bugatti with like designer stuff and they're like, ooh, blah, blah, blah. And this person's like, their credit card declines. Whereas the person in Walmart clothes driving a Toyota has like millions of dollars like on their like debit card, or like pulls out a wad of cash. So it's like you really can't judge a book by its cover with that. And like just because someone seems like they have money.
Or you don't know. I actually had that happen to me, and this is when you were a baby,
Mhm.
and I was buying my first computer, which my work had a program. When computers were really expensive. Not that they're not now, but in comparison to how much money you made.
Yeah.
With dial up and AOL and all that. So very
Dial up.
first computer.
I don't even know what that
Um,
is.
I
Just kidding. I know what it is.
know. You can hear everybody my age. They just heard the sound in their head. I just posted that the other day. Um, but I was buying my first computer. I was young. I looked young to it, so I was 26, 27, and I was bigger. That's when I was bigger. I had a baby with me. And I probably wasn't dressed so great. I probably had Walmart clothes on, and I went to Best Buy, but I had a program at work where they take a little bit out of my paycheck. So I could get whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
And so I was going in and, there's all these computers, all these laptops, all this everything. Well, I don't know if they're laptops. Maybe they were just computers. I don't remember. Anyway, but there's a lot of them, right? And I asked this guy to help me, and he just like shows me like two. And I'm like, well, what about the other ones? He goes, well, those are expensive. Well, first of all, they're all expensive, and you didn't ask me
What my budget
what
was.
my budget was, what I need or anything. And then I asked him about a scanner, and he goes, "What do you need a scanner for?" And I was like, and he was making me nervous, right? So I'm like, I don't know, like, you know. And he's like, "Oh, just to keep up with Joan." I said, no, I said, all my friends have one, you know.
Mhm.
And he goes, "Oh, so you just want to keep up with your friends?" This man,
That would have pissed me off.
I left, and I ended up buying not the smartest decision, but I ended up buying my computer from Gateway because I was like horrified. I left Best Buy like almost in tears.
Yeah.
Like this guy was just, and let me say, I started, sorry, you know what? I'm not nothing against Best Buy. This was how many years ago?
Yeah.
But
Don't cancel us, Best Buy.
yeah, no. So, but also when I rolled up too into the department, there was like 5 associates standing around talking, and first they ignored me for like at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I had to go over there and say, "Can someone help me?"
Right.
So I think because anyway, I just went way off on something else. But point being
No.
that, don't assume what someone's financial status is.
You can't assume
Mine
that at
wasn't
all.
great, however, but I had the opportunity. They
Exactly.
were going to make money,
Exactly.
you know.
Well, and like whenever I was working in retail, I worked at Ulta. I'll just say I worked at Ulta. I worked at like a makeup store, and there. If you've ever been to Ulta, there's very, very affordable makeup and very, very expensive makeup. Like seriously, you can get an eyeliner anywhere from like $3 to like $30. I'm not even kidding. And so this was around Christmas time, and I would get two kinds of people. Some people would be like, they would be annoyed that I'm showing them the more expensive stuff, but I also am trying to make sales, right? So I'm going to show you the more expensive stuff, especially if I think it's like better. And so this one guy, he came in, he's like, I want to buy brushes. And I was like, hairbrush, makeup brush, toothbrush. Like we literally had all that kind of stuff. And he was like, makeup brushes. And I said, okay, what's your budget today? Or like, how much, like what range are you thinking? And he was like, makeup brushes. And I was like, okay. And so we had these makeup brushes where like each brush alone was like up to $40. I'm not even kidding. There were brushes up to $40 a piece. They're good brushes. So I showed him those and I said, we have those. And then, but there was another brand that I also recommended that was a lot more affordable. I wasn't thinking that this guy couldn't afford it. I was just saying like, there's these and then there's some over there. And I wasn't saying, in case you don't want to spend, I wasn't saying that. I was like, there's these, there's some over there that I also really like, and they're also more affordable. Like I was just stating why I liked them. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And he took offense to that. He's a stupid man. I don't care. But and like I was like very aware of like I'm not trying to like tell you can't afford it. I'm just saying what the benefits are of both, right? These are really nice. They're really high quality. But they also are a little bit more expensive. However, there's these also that are a little bit more like I was explaining the options, right?
I don't understand, but like, why wouldn't it be easy for him just to say, "Oh no, budget's not really an issue. I just, I want to get something nice for."
Show me your best brushes.
Yeah.
And if you would have said that, I wouldn't have even mentioned the cheap
Because
ones.
if you would have told me these are $80 makeup brushes, I'd have been like, "Girl, no."
Exactly. And a
No.
lot of people would have that reaction.
And
They would
not
be
that
like,
I would have gone and paid $80 to $100 for a bottle of perfume.
right,
I'm not going to spend $80 on makeup brushes.
right.
Mostly because I don't clean them and take care of them.
Yeah.
I just want to make them disposable.
Yeah. So, if you are like working in a sales type of field, you can't assume you know what I mean? You can't assume that someone can afford something, but I do think it's important to show people both options because you also don't know what it's not even about being able to afford it, what they're willing to
I
spend.
should say willing.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah.
It's not about afford. It's about willing to spend because we all have things that we're willing to spend a little bit more on.
Yeah. Like I said, I go into Ulta, I'll spend that on
A perfume.
but
Not on some makeup brushes. And same here. I'll spend, a lot of money on a pair of shoes, but not on a pair of jeans. I want Walmart jeans. Like, and that's me, but some people care more about jeans. And that's just like a stupid example. But, I'll spend a lot of money on gadgets. I have a very expensive computer. It's very expensive. But my phone, On the other hand, this is iPhone 11, I think. I've had this screen protector on here, and it's like cracked.
Mine's correct.
But it was a $40 screen protector, and it still works. It protects the screen, does it not? So, we all have things that like I think matter more to us than others, and that's what you should spend your money on. It's just money; you'll make more.
I like seeing her get things, and then I buy myself that, and then don't use it.
Yeah,
I do that a lot.
you do.
But now I'm using the headphones that I had to have.
Yeah, I asked for these for Christmas, and then she had to go get herself a pair from Santa.
I did.
Yeah.
Santa brought them. Uh, Oddly enough, it went on my credit card, but Santa brought them.
She got me an Apple Watch. I'm very into Apple devices. She got me an Apple Watch, and then you got yourself an Apple Watch, and I don't think I've seen you wear it one time.
Okay, look. Sorry. You know what? We're not gonna talk about any money. We're gonna talk about my Apple Watch. So I did wear it the whole time in Europe.
You did. It was nice in Europe.
It was because you could get on the
It's nice
subway
with
and
Apple
stuff
Pay and
and pay
stuff,
for
yeah.
it was pretty cool. Although it took me a hot minute to learn how to do that. And this one yelled at me every time. Jennifer, push the button. And she grabbed my wrist and do the things. Okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, but you had to, it wasn't a problem because, we were kind of on a schedule. So we cut home every night and we charged the watch. Let me just tell you, Apple Watch users, you have to charge it every night.
That's not necessarily true. If you put it on theater mode, it doesn't like waste battery as quickly.
Okay. I don't know what that means because clearly I don't wear my watch. However, and also I know and she won't do it for me, which makes me really mad, by the way. I don't like all the I have kind of figured out. I don't like all the notifications.
That's why you put it in theater mode. You don't get as many notifications.
Yeah. I don't like that, the maps. So when I'm driving and I have to turn left, my wrist starts buzzing. Oh, it's horrible. Anyway, what's
Brittany,
my other
hold on
point?
really quick. Brittany said, reminds me of the time Abby made fun of me for having an Android. Yes, I did.
Oh.
And I will.
Mm.
Most of my favorite people have Androids. They're kind of turning me to
I got an Android for work on purpose, and I don't really have to use my work phone a lot anyway, and it's a good thing because I barely know how to turn it on.
The camera's honestly better on an Android. I
don't think there's a single. I've not used it. I've not taken a single picture.
I'll give that to you, Droid users. The camera eats. It's good.
Anyway, the watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't wear it for a very long time, and I
Mhm.
put it on the other night. I thought I was gonna be a day. I went somewhere. I was with my friends. I think that's when I went to brunch with them. Anyway, I had it on because I was gonna be a bougie, bougie, and answer my phone on my wrist and everything. And I think I changed my Apple ID at some point, the password,
Mm-hmm.
and it's asking me to log in on my watch. It's this big.
Mm.
First of all, I probably don't even remember the password. But the other thing is do I really have to do it on the watch or can I do it on the app? Does anybody know?
I don't know. I guess I can help you figure that out.
Y'all heard it here.
I am an Apple girly. I feed into Apple so bad. Like, I have a MacBook. I have an iPhone, obviously. Apple Watch, AirPods.
Mm.
I think Apple owns Beats now too. I have those. I also have been like dying for an iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil, with the keyboard, everything. Do I need that? No, because I have an iPhone and an Apple Watch, and I don't need it. But like, I feel like I cannot live the rest of my life without an iPad. And I remember there was like Amazon Prime Day or something. And I was like, and she tells me about these stupid sales, and I'm like, I feed into it. I'm like, oh, a sale?
That's how you got the watch.
That is how I got the watch. But so I was literally about to buy an iPad with the pencil and all the things, and I uh I almost bought it, guys. Like I was so close to buying it, and then I was like, I really don't need it, but to this day I wish I would have bought it. I think I would use it twice, but I still
Well, there you go. Now we're back to the original topic. See?
Mhm.
You didn't spend money on that, but you know what? Spend it. You'll just make more.
Well, and I also forgot to mention I have an Apple credit card.
I was literally just about to say that.
And when you have an Apple credit card, let me just tell you, if you buy Apple products on Apple sponsor me, girl. Come on.
By the way, I just wanted to mention, just because I just looked at both of us, we did not see each other this morning at all before starting the show.
My hair, I need to wash her. I need to wash my hair.
Me too.
No, but if you buy Apple products with an Apple card, you get 3% cash back in your
like
Apple
immediately,
cash.
right back. Yeah.
I
or fairly
I
immediately?
think it's after you pay it. I don't know, because I also paid down a lot of money on my Apple Card, and I did not get any money in my Apple Cash. Apple support, where you at? Rude. But so that is also I feed into those incentives that they give. I'm like, well, I already have the Apple Card. I'm gonna get 3% back if I buy an iPad. If I spend $1,000 on an iPad, I'll get what?
It's fine if
$30 back?
it's fine if you
$30?
read
Mhm.
it. It's fine if you pay the balance off. You know what? Before 30 days.
I don't wanna spend $1,000 of my own money. Also, another thing, one time I was there was a person that I was involved with, who owed me. We went on like a little out of trip, and this is me. I'm gonna tell y'all something because some of y'all, this person was not financially aware at all, like at all. Didn't know how credit cards work. This person literally told me one time, about like paying their credit card, and they were like, "Oh, well, I don't have to pay my credit card for a few months." I'm like, "Oh, did you pay it off?" And they were like, "Well, no, I just made like let's say the minimum payment is $30." They're like, "I just paid $90." And I said, "Yeah, you still owe next month." Like they were like, "Well, no, because I paid more than the minimum." I said, "That's great. I'm happy for you that you paid more than the minimum. You still owe next month." Like, what do you like? This person was so financially unaware. Anyways, this person, the entire time I was involved with them, didn't really have like a real job. They made money doing some things, but did not have a real job. And when they finally got a real job, we had just went on a little trip, and I had put it on this like credit card, a different credit card that I have that like where you don't have to pay interest for a few months. And I was like, okay, well, don't worry about it. Like, I know you're about to start your job, like, because they started the job like a month after our trip, and I was like, it's okay, just pay me back whenever you get your job. You don't have to worry about it like right now. And then this person was like, so we took the trip in January. I hope I'm making sense. We took the trip in January.
I think we're all over the place today.
We took the trip in January, and this person was like, "Okay, well, I'm probably not gonna pay you back till April." And I said, "Well, you're starting the job end of January. What do you mean?" And I was like, "I mean, you don't have to pay me all of it." It was only like $400, guys. It was really not that much. I mean, $400 is a lot of money, but it wasn't like it was like $1,000 or anything like you know what I'm saying? It was $400. I was like, "Well, can you just every time you get paid, just give me like 50, $75?" And they were like, "Well, I really want to save up first." Save up.
Then you're not going on this trip.
You have debts, babe. Debts.
Well, and that,
So that to me, so hold on, I'm not done. That to me was baffling. Like you clearly don't know how money. Why would you say, "Well, I'm trying to save up"? I'm trying to save up when you owe me $400. You can't pay me $50 a paycheck.
oh, you can
I'm mad.
you get a little riled up, Abs.
What were you gonna say? Speak.
Well, first of all, you should really not have many matters with friends, as we all know, or mate, or not,
Yeah.
But
People you're involved with.
if you do, there should be a clear cut like boundary.
Mhm.
When are you going to pay this back, and what ways? How?
And that is
I'll give you
also
$50, whatever it is.
that's also on me for not setting the expectation.
See, and I don't know if she's watching, but if I have a friend that borrows money from me and hasn't paid me back, I will question every damn thing they do until like, what are you doing? Oh, you have money
Yeah.
for food? Oh, you have money for dinner? Oh, you're going to the movies.
Which
Oh, you just bought a new dress. Where's my money?
Something I also
You did
learned
not want
is
to
you
put money
shouldn't
in me.
lend money to people that you aren't okay with getting back. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
the amount.
The
Yeah.
amount. Yeah. Like in reality, in the end of the day, you can like love and trust somebody, but when money gets involved, it does get sticky. So I personally have now learned the lesson. I'm not going to lend money to somebody that I wouldn't be okay getting back. And whatever that amount is to you, maybe it's $50. Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's $10. Maybe you're like, no, I very much am like a penny pincher. I want my $10 back. And so that is something that you have to do as the person who's maybe financially more responsible is don't give an amount of money that you wouldn't.
And if you're borrowing a lot, then, from anybody, then take a look at yourself, what
Mhm.
like budget or figure it out.
And
Because I will tell you, and this is not, I'm not pumping myself up or anything. I would rather do anything than borrow money from somebody.
yeah,
Like my
I'll
dad's
take
not
out a
my dad's
loan.
not watching. He's the only exception. But even that,
I'll
like
sell stuff.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do absolutely anything before I do that. However, the peace that you get from being that type of person is that if I needed money tomorrow, probably every single person I ask would give it to me.
Right, because you're not it's not like you're asking for it all the time.
Yeah, because I've
Yeah.
never asked. They know that for me to come ask means that I really, really, really need it, and they know that they would get it back right away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm the same way.
so can I borrow $1,000 from all my friends?
I don't like asking for money that I'm not, like, owed, right? Like, I may ask someone like, "Hey, since I bought you that thing, can you, like, send me money for that?" Or, like, like, let's say we go out to lunch together and we just put it on one card. In that kinda scenario, of course, I'm gonna reach out and be like, "Hey, can you give me?" But I'm not gonna ask for money outright like that. This same person that I was involved with that had 0.
I just saw, maybe it was just a funny thing, but I saw something.
I'll tell a story.
Sorry, real quick, because your story. No, I was just gonna say, like, why do we feel guilty asking for money back that someone owes us?
I know, I do feel weird about that
I do too.
sometimes.
I do
Like,
too.
sometimes I'm
Because
like
you feel like they should.
they should just know to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not I try not to be like that. If it's like and again, it depends on the amount, right? If it's like $10, I probably won't push too much, but if it's like creeping into $30, $40, you bet your bottom dollar that I'm gonna hit you up for that $20, $30.
You know how many Chipotle chips that is?
No, exactly. But, so that same person at one point was like they were, babysitting, and the mother of the children had asked them like, "Hey, when you're on your way, can you pick up milk or something? Like, we ran out and you're gonna be here anyway." And she was like, "I'll just add it to your paycheck." How much is milk? $3 a gallon, $4 a gallon?
Yeah.
Okay.
5,
This
6,
person I was involved with asked me to send them $6. "Can you send me $6 for this milk that I have to get?" And I was like, "Oh, you don't have first of all,
6.
milk's not $6. Also, you don't have money for milk." And she was like,
It might be $6. I don't know. Maybe it
th-
was a special kind of
this person was like, um, "Well, I just don't wanna spend my money."
milk. That's funny to me.
Like a fool, I sent the $6. And they were like, "Oh, I'll pay you back." Never saw that $6 again. It was gone. So just yeah, and, like, that
She's
feels like
really, and look at, she remembers.
I do. I remember everything.
There's
I have the memory of an elephant. I really do remember everything. And, like, I didn't wanna, like, go out of my way to be like, "Hey, can you send me $6?" Because this person was also would, like, manipulate me and be like, "Oh my god, it's just $6, blah, 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 blah," or, like, find excuses or just put it off, put it off, put it off, put it off. And so, I recognize I am a fool. Boo boo, the fool. That is me. So, I've learned my lesson. I don't play like that anymore. But don't be
I can't.
inconsiderate. Don't ask someone for money because you don't wanna spend your money. That's
That's
so
That's true.
Am I your husband?
So look,
Am I your mother? Like, what?
same thing, kind of, not the same. I have a friend that, we sometimes travel together, right?
Facts, Brittany. Sorry, keep going.
So we went to Jamaica and we were, flying together, sharing a room, doing all that. So
Mhm.
she, arranged it, and then she paid for mine.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I wanted to put it on my credit. I didn't want to spend my money. I didn't want to spend my cash, right? And I had a travel points credit card. So I was like, because she paid for it all and then I had to give her cash.
Yeah.
And I was like,
She had to use
I didn't, she actually said, "Oh, pay me anytime before the trip, but I know I'll forget or do something else." So I just immediately gave her cash that I didn't want to give.
I
I didn't
hate
wanna do that.
owing people stuff.
So
So
you
if
just
I
gotta be
know I
careful
owe someone
too.
something, I will send it right then and
Yeah,
there.
and I did too, but A, I didn't have to. She said I didn't have to, but A, I just wanted to. I didn't really have it. I had it obviously because I paid her, right? But I wasn't ready to give up that amount of money. Um, so I mean, sometimes you gotta be careful too, right? Like
Yeah.
that's wasn't really in my budget to do that. I was going on the trip and gonna pay it off in monthly
Pay it off later.
installments. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I have a friend and she has another group of friends that she goes out with and like they go to dinners and they do all this stuff for their friend's birthday. But of her friend group, she has this one friend who's kind of the one that like she wants the credit card points, so she'll put it on her credit card,
mm.
but then come back months later and be like, "You owe me this, this, and this."
Hmm?
Yeah, like she'll pay for everyone's like food, and then months later will be like, "Oh, by the way, from 3 months ago, you owe me $45 for the dinner that we had."
Why don't you just get the money right then and there?
Right. And so my friend like has to look back and be like, look at like the PayPal or Venmo, whatever, and be like, "Girl, I'm pretty sure I already paid you for this. You just forgot. You didn't put it in your spreadsheet." And so, and I've done that the past couple times I went to dinner with friends. We went to like kind of fancier places. I went with a big group of friends. I put it on my card because one of the times her card wasn't working, and I knew she had the money for it. Like she's my best friend, been my best friend for a long time. I knew she had the money for it, so I was like, I'll just pay for it and just send me. And
You get
she sent it right then and there. And then another time, it was like six of us, and the waitress didn't bring us a split bill.
Oh, see, that was my next question. Do you get separate checks?
I tried to, but the lady didn't do it and it was she was taking a while, and I was like, "I'll just pay it and you guys pay me back." And everyone paid it back within, if I'm going to be putting myself out there like that, I'm not going to hit you up months later. I'm going to hit you up today or the next day. I'm going to do it right then and there before we leave the restaurant. Make sure I receive funds from everybody, cuz clearly you had the money, that's why you came. And I have Zelle, I have Cash App, I have Venmo, I have PayPal. I take cash.
We'll,
Girl,
we'll put up our links.
I'm gonna get me a Square reader too, so I can just run your card. No excuses here, babe. I got everything.
Well, you need to do that anymore.
You don't, because I have everything. I have Zelle.
We're gonna put them on our website. Just
Mhm.
kidding. We're not gonna do that.
But yeah, so that's cash or credit.
Cash or credit? Are we done?
I prefer credit
Oh,
sometimes.
we're about done. Yeah, we kind of went off. I noticed you said we both said willy nilly in this conversation,
Mhm.
and she always tells me I'm lollygagging. Which one's the mother? Like, where did we grow up that we talk like that?
I don't know.
You said it, and I was like, wait, I said it too.
I have my own dictionary. I say lots
Willy
of
nilly and
weird cute
lollygagging, lollygagger.
Mhm.
I don't think you grew up with me saying that. I feel like you started.
I think,
saying it.
yeah, you think I'm cool, so you take my things. It's okay.
That is facts, hard facts. Bet or no cap or I don't even know what I'm saying. Never mind. You know, we should talk about language at some point, not today.
We should. Like slang and stuff like that.
But next week is
What is that? I don't remember.
it is keeping your word.
Keeping your word.
Keeping your word.
Stay tuned for that.
How committed are you? And I don't mean relationships.
Yeah.
Well, maybe somewhat. But
because there are some people.
y'all heard Abigail say that she was going to help me with my Apple Watch. So next week, if you haven't, I'm going to accuse you of not keeping your word. See what I did there? I had the whole thing planned in my head right when you said you'd help me.
Good outro.
Thank you.
I'm being facetious.
I know.
Okay. All right. You are listening to Journeys and Ambitions on LV with Val Radio. Make sure to download the LV with Val app. And you can listen to all things Love and Victory. On there, we have other radio shows as well. We have music 24/7, all sorts of fun stuff there on the app.
And we didn't. Sorry, because I just wanted to say shout out to is it Keeman and Brittany. We didn't show your comments, but they're having whole ass conversations in our comments, and I love it. I'm here for it.
I actually do want to read Keeman's comment real quick. He said, "I don't care if it's $6. It's hard out here. Give me my money back. My rule is if you don't give it back, you can forget asking me again because it's going to be a quick hell no." Facts, boo. You better pay me back, baby. You better run me my money.
$6.
I don't care if it's girl.
Is there a limit where you wouldn't ask for it back?
I think it depends on who it is. It definitely depends on who it is. Because, like, with my really close friends or people that I spend a lot of time with, and I know we're going to do something together again, it might just be the kind of an understanding like, okay, well, I paid for this, you can pay for this next time. And I'm not going to, like, with relationships like that, I'm not going to nickel and dime you and be like, well, I spent $20 when we got coffee and now we got boba and it was only $16. Like, I'm not.
I feel like it's a circumstance thing too. Like, I feel like I'm just going to use you as an example. If we're out, right, and I buy you something for $5 or you turn around and say, I'm short $5, I probably will never think of that again. But if you're doing something on your own and you ask me to like send you $5, then I want it different. Back.
It's one thing
I don't know why that is though.
It's one thing in real time to be like, oh shit, you have a couple extra dollars, like I'm short or something like that. You know.
I turned around last night because I had exact cash for a drink. So I didn't want to use my card because it was like $4, but that's all I had. So I turned around to my friends. I'm like, I need a tip. Yeah. Like, give me money.
Right. And it does depend on the relationship you have with the person. The other day I got pizza with some friends. And me and this girl shared a pizza because you could only buy an entire pizza, so we were gonna share it. And she only really ate one slice. It was a $20. It was an expensive pizza, and she kept saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna pay you back. I'm gonna pay you back." And she's the one who I didn't ask. We had originally planned to split it, but when I saw she only ate one slice and I took the rest home, I was like, I mean, it's not a big deal. Like, you know what I'm saying? But and then it was like a week later and I texted her about something else and she goes, "Oh, I never paid you. Like, what?" Like, and then she sent me money for the
Is
what's
that
it
the
called?
one that I ate?
Yes, it is the one that you
That's
ate.
good. Thank you,
So
friend.
and this girl's like a new friend. Like, we're not like super close or anything. We had only really hung out the one time. Um, she's in the Houston show choir with me. Hey. Um, anyways, and so I wasn't like hurting for the $10, but it was nice that she still went out of her way to send it. Like, I was kind of under of the understanding that, like, I mean, I only ate one slice of this pizza. I'm not gonna make you pay me. But she did. I'm gonna take it. I'm not gonna say
I
no
paid
to money.
I paid nothing, and I think I ate a good portion of it. Anyway, we were peacing out, and then we just came
Yeah.
back.
Okay, I'm gonna shut up now. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Love you. Kisses.